For years, people were told to stop asking questions about Jeffrey Epstein and the powerful people around him. They said it was a rumor, wild talk from the internet. But now, after new files and messages came out, those old questions don't seem so easy to ignore anymore.
So there's a claim circulating right now that the Epstein files reveal Ellen DeGeneres as, and I'm quoting this directly from the posts, Hollywood's most prolific cannibal, that she consumed human flesh. People are sharing distorted images of her face, writing paragraphs about underground dystopias, calling her a vampire.
Today, we go through what these files actually say, what is real, what is fabricated, and what the verified story about Ellen DeGeneres actually looks like. When investigators went through the Epstein documents, one thing stood out immediately: the language. Words like pizza, pasta, jerky, and muffin kept appearing in emails, not as food conversations, in ways that left even seasoned investigators confused.
On the screen, there was also a lot of language that appears to be coded regarding food. I wanted to let you know the crew really appreciated the pizza. Another email read, "This is better than a Chinese cookie. See attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again." This one talks about, yeah, that's the pizza. You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement. There's one more, I think, in this list as well. "Sorry, I have no stomach for even the slightest aggro. I don't have the stomach for it for any drama, imaginary or real. I'm still fragile off the last one and scared of shadows." This is in response to some videos that were shared where Jeffrey Epstein himself says, "I watched all of these videos, don't send any more." And then Ghislaine is like, "I can't stomach any of this." What the fuck did you send that Jeffrey Epstein was like, "No more"?
One of them, Anna Paulina Luna, confirmed that these emails included coded phrases and descriptions involving minors. She openly said that the way these words were used was not normal, and that jerky in particular didn't sound like food at all when read in context. A forensic expert would later come out to say that these were likely euphemisms for something much, much worse.
Grape soda has been mentioned time and time again. You know, having adult men, successful men that are very health-oriented, constantly talk about pizza and pizza with grape soda, which I've never heard before.
Yeah, I've never heard of pizza and grape soda before this. I don't know if that specific combination was part of the whole Pizzagate thing, but it's definitely mentioned a lot because I saw that phrase, so I looked it up and was like, is this actually like in there multiple times? And it most definitely is.
There's another one here. Have you seen the beef jerky mentions as well? There's an email here from Jeffrey Epstein. Someone else says, Francis has time to come tomorrow to show me how to make it. Jerky, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his jerky recipe from the restaurant, and sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called Cook's. Wait for it, beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. There's other emails of him talking about beef jerky. Another one here is Jeffrey Epstein sending it to Steve Hansen saying, "Hope you're feeling better. Did we analyze the beef? Did we analyze the jerky?" Now there's talks about jerky, referencing human meat. It could be for scientific research. Could be something else that's even sicker. But there's more emails here talking about beef jerky. Have you had time to go through those? There's one here. "Thank you so much. Super cool. IT guy setting up Surface right now. We are ridiculously excited, and beef jerky delicious. Thank you. Thanksgiving." So yeah,
it is very. Now I've got all those emails saved. I'd actually had somebody send me all of those to say, "Hey, would you check this out?" So I have them. I have not read through all of them, but there's no shortage of terms that are phrased in a peculiar way. Muffin is another one. I've seen that a couple of times. I talked about when he says "whoops." That seems to be in very. Sometimes he says that in very odd terms that seem like they're referring to somebody dying or getting killed. So there definitely seem to be code words. So,
but before we get to Ellen, there is something even more revealing in these files. Rare footage, an interview that was never meant to be seen publicly. Steve Bannon sat down with Jeffrey Epstein in 2019, allegedly to help rehabilitate his image. What Epstein said in that interview tells you everything about how these people think.
Take that next step. When you first got on the trading desk at Bear Stearns in the late 70s or mid 70s, were you shocked by how little actual understanding of mathematics that the traders comprehended?
Yeah, well, again, we had a Texas Instrument calculator. Most stockbrokers, especially before 1975, if they were good stockbrokers, could add. That's about it. They could multiply. If you could multiply, you were already in the top 15% of stockbrokers. Stockbroker simply meant there's a story. When I went to the first person, I had no money. And I said, how much money do you make a year? And he said, $400,000. I said, impossible. I'm making $10,000.
That's probably more than your family had made in its entire existence.
Yes. And he makes it in a year. I said, what do you do? And he said, it's too complicated for you to understand. Which is what the main thrust of Wall Street people, they want to tell you it's too complicated. Because if you understood that that person was simply, he had a brother-in-law, in fact in this case, who ran the pension fund at General Motors. His brother-in-law would call him and say, buy 1,000 IBM. He'd hang up the phone, he'd write it out on a ticket and walk it to a window. That was his entire skill set. Hello, write what my brother-in-law says, walk it to a ticket window.
Do you find most leaders financially illiterate, economically illiterate?
Most political leaders don't come out of a background of finance. Most political leaders come out of a background of being popular. The knowledge of money they don't have expertise, they have no degrees in finance. They really, and this is one of the major problems, their expertise, if they have any financial knowledge, is of their own checking account or bank account and filling in their own taxes. So many world leaders who don't really have a financial underpinning make fundamental errors when it comes to money on a country or institutional level.
A man who saw himself as intellectually superior to world leaders, who moved in circles most people never even knew existed, and whose network, according to these files, stretched far deeper into Hollywood than anyone publicly admitted. Now, Ellen DeGeneres. Her name is real in the documents, not fabricated, not just a rumor. The DOJ released files referencing over 300 high-profile individuals across flight logs, communications, and third-party interviews. Ellen's name is in that index.
Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that show up across the investigative materials. Flight logs, communications, third-party interviews, peripheral records.
But then, the viral claims started spreading. Hollywood's most prolific cannibal. Cannibalism. Vampires. Distorted images. And this is where the story split in two directions: the verified facts and the complete fiction.
Third party. There is zero evidence in the Epstein files connecting Ellen DeGeneres to cannibalism or any other wrongdoing. That claim is completely fabricated. Community notes on the original X post flags it. The documents themselves contain nothing remotely close to it. Someone made it up. It sounded insane enough to go viral. And now millions of people have seen it presented as fact.
But here is what nobody is talking about. The real Ellen story. The one with actual documentation behind it. In 2020, 36 former employees of The Ellen Show spoke to reporters about what they described as a toxic workplace, harassment, misconduct, a culture where staff were reportedly afraid to speak up. Warner Brothers launched an investigation. Executive producers were removed.
This TV personality is speaking out about what it was like working closely with Ellen DeGeneres. What happened, Tony? Tony Okunbowa was the on-air DJ at The Ellen Show for 11 years. Now he is addressing allegations of a toxic work environment that is threatening Ellen's reputation as the Queen of Nice. While I am grateful for the opportunity it afforded me, I did experience and feel the toxicity of the environment, he writes on Instagram. I stand with my former colleagues in their quest to create a healthier and more inclusive workplace as the show moves forward. He joins a long list of former producers, including Hedda Muscat, who accuse Ellen of turning a blind eye to alleged mistreatment happening behind the scenes.
It didn't have to go down this way. She could have been brilliantly talented in front of the camera and carried that backstage, and she didn't. Every Friday we were shaking, who's going to get fired this Friday?
And it was not just backstage staff. In June 2025, comedian Margaret Cho said on a podcast that Ellen had been a mean girl behind the scenes, despite the two knowing each other from the 1980s comedy circuit. When Cho appeared on Ellen's show years later, she was reportedly treated like a complete stranger. Here is the most important thing to understand about all of this. The real stuff in these Epstein files, the confirmed crimes, the documented victims, the coded language in those emails, that is damning enough on its own. It does not need
This is
fabrication.
important to talk about because the potentially real stuff in these files is damning enough. There are genuine revelations in these documents about powerful people and what they did or didn't do. And when you flood spaces with potentially fake claims about cannibalism and vampires, you actually make it easier for the people who have real things to hide. Because now, anyone who brings up the Epstein files may get lumped in with the conspiracy crowd. That's how disinformation works. It doesn't just misinform the people who believe it, it discredits the people trying to talk about what's actually true.
Ellen's name is in the files. Her workplace scandal is documented. Her social connections to Diddy are on public record. Those are the real questions that deserve real answers. The cannibal claim? Completely fabricated. And treating both as equal does a disservice to the real victims of Epstein's network. So, the Epstein files are real. The coded language is real. The verified names are real. The toxic workplace, the documented connections, all real. What is not real is the viral fiction that keeps drowning it all out. The question is, are you paying attention to the right story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video if you want us to go deeper on the Epstein files. And subscribe, because this story is far from over.